Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. So a little while ago, I put up a poll on my Instagram asking people what videos they would like to see from franchises that I'm into that aren't Thomas. Unsurprisingly, the highest number of people said Harry Potter, which I will get to, but quite a large number of people said Henry Danger, so today I'm going to be counting down my 5 favourite Henry Danger episodes. A couple of things before I start. 1. If there's a story of multiple parts, such as Live and Dangerous, I'm counting it as 1 for the sake of this list. 2. This isn't going to be from 5th best to best, it's going to be in the order the episodes were released. And finally, as always, this is just my opinion. So first on this list is Hour of Power from Season 3. This episode is notable for introducing the character of Drex, who is, in my opinion, by far the best villain in the show. Out of all the recurring villains, he's the only one you feel has a chance of winning, and the only one Captain Man and Kid Danger are actually scared of. No one can take the toddler seriously, Dr. Miniac gets beaten too easily too often, and Jeff is just a stupid petty thief. That leaves Franchini and Drex. And no offense to Franchini, but Drex is just by far the better villain. He knows pretty much everything about Captain Man, and Ray says Drex is the best fighter he's ever met, and said that the only reason Ray beat Drex last time they fought was because Ray was indestructible. And we also see just how good Drex is when he easily beats 2 burglars without using his hands while holding a pie. He also takes Captain Man out of the equation and easily overpowered Kid Danger. He could have easily killed him if he thought he was a threat. What I love about the story is that it's a coming-of-age story for Kid Danger. He's done stuff without Captain Man before, but that's just been stopping petty thieves. Now he has to stop the best fighter we've ever seen on the show without Captain Man. Ray and Schwartz decide that in order to beat Drex, they need to give Henry a superpower, hypermotility, or superfast reflexes. I also love how this episode proves Jasper's loyalty as he lies to Drex about the location of the man cave. The only complaint I have with this episode is that we don't really know the stakes and the consequences of what will happen if Henry doesn't defeat Drex. We know Drex is looking for the man cave, but we don't know what will happen when he does that. But overall, great episode. The next episode on this list is Back to the Danger from Season 4. So, how do you top the best villain in the show who you can only beat if you have a superpower? You bring that villain back and give them a superpower. So essentially, at the end of Hour of Power, Ray decided it was too risky to send Drex back to prison with the police, so they kept in this machine that kept Drex alive, but he couldn't move or even think. And then, at the start of this episode, it is revealed that the Swellview clock tower is 10 seconds fast, and since there was no way to adjust the clock, they were going to turn off the power for the whole city for 10 seconds, and then turn it back on. The problem is, when the power is turned off, Drex's container loses power and he gets free. He sets the Time Jerker's time portal to 1989 and jumps through. Ray and Henry follow, but then a gun Drex sets when the timer goes off, destroying the time portal. Ray works out that Drex came back to the day where Little Ray was densitized and became indestructible, and he was going to stop that happening, so there was never a Captain Man or a Kid Danger. Meanwhile, Charlotte, Schwartz and Jasper try to fix the time portal. This feels a lot like a Doctor Who episode, and I think that's why I like it. Another reason why I like it is that Ray and Henry don't stop Drex. Drex wins, and Ray and Henry then have to take back control. Drex stops Ray from becoming indestructible, makes himself indestructible and destroys the densitizer, and is about to kill Ray and Henry when Schwartz pulls them back to the present. They go back in time to try to stop this happening again, but arrive after Drex got densitized, but he hasn't destroyed the densitizer yet, so they are able to make Ray indestructible again. So while history's back to normal and Ray is indestructible again, it's only really a half victory, as Drex is now also indestructible, and they deal with Ray by sending him back in time 100 million years. Again, I only really have one complaint with this, and it's a very minor one. Basically, anyone other than Ray who has used a densitizer got some side effect, and Ray showed Henry and Charlotte a video of some of the side effects. One guy got another face in his stomach, and one had arms sticking out of his ears that would poke him in the eye. Drex's side effect of having one of his hands turn into a claw is actually advantageous to him, when all the other side effects we've seen have been bad. But when the one complaint about an episode is that a tiny thing seems a bit too convenient, then it's a great episode. The next story on this list is what I call the New Trilogy from Season 5, containing the episodes Part 1, A New Evil, Part 2, A New Darkness, and Part 3, A New Hero. And Kinda Danger Things, Flabbergast, Henry's Birthday, Whistling Susie, and The Great Cactus Con, depending on how you want to look at it. The plot of this episode is basically Rick Twitler, the billionaire who founded the social media platform Twitlash, thinks that people are spending too much time on their phones and computers and have forgotten what it means to be friends and talk to each other properly. So he wants to release a computer virus that will destroy the internet and destroy all forms of technology so people actually talk to each other again. And like I said, there are 5 episodes that, depending on who you ask, either are or aren't part of this story, and that's because Rick Twitler has essentially been manipulating Captain Man and Kid Danger, sending them on specific missions so that their bodies are exposed to different kinds of stuff like radiation, so that Rick is able to steal their superpowers and give them to the virus, so the virus is both super fast and indestructible. However, he is only able to steal Kid Danger's power, so the virus is only super fast, not indestructible. They get Kid Danger's power back, thanks to a bee, and Schwartz finds a way to stop the virus, but in the process, Kid Danger has to touch the antidote with his bare hands, thus losing his superpower. I think this is probably the best story of the show. Not my favourite, but the best. The ending is beautifully written, and the plot is set up so well. Sure, when the virus takes over the humans, it's a bit weird, but I'm into classic Doctor Who. I can hardly complain about weird monsters. If I had any complaints, it's that this is basically a do the ends justify the means story, and while no one in their right mind would ever go to the extent Rick Twitler did, I think we can all agree that people are using technology a bit too much, and yet Ray and Henry, or any of the main characters, try to see the situation from the other point of view. They say, but memes are funny. Even when Piper, the girl obsessed with her phone, admits that time without her phone can be enjoyable, no one even went, hang on, maybe Rick had a point. But on the whole, an incredible story that's really well written. Next on my list, and anyone who knows me in real life will know that this was coming, it's Henry Danger the Musical from Season 5. The plot of this episode is essentially Franchini thinks that there's nothing better than a town-wide musical in the summer, so blasts a weird kind of frequency that forces everyone to sing and dance and act like they're in a musical. Because it's summer. And Captain Man and Kid Danger can't fight Franchini because...
Sorry, boys, but you don't have a chance. The only fight in musicals are fight through dance.
They cannot hurt Franchini cause... Sorry.
Oh, also, before you try shooting me with one of your little lasers, all weapons in musical theater are props.
That does it!
Technically, this isn't the best episode, but I love musicals. I think this is probably my favourite episode of the show. I love all the songs, with the standouts being There's a Musical Curse Over Swellview, You'll Never Believe What Happened, I Heard a Little Rumour, the bro song, and the cheesy grand finale. Like I said, technically it's probably nowhere near the best episode, but it's a musical, so I love it. And the last story on this list is the 4-part finale, the beginning of the end, Captain Drex, the Fate of Swellview Part 1, and the Fate of Swellview Part 2, from Season 5. Also, if you've noticed, it's no coincidence that Drex's 3 appearances are all in my top 5 stories, given he is by far the best villain. The main plot of this episode is that Charlotte, Jasper and Piper are all graduating in 1 week, and Henry isn't because he spent all his time as Kid Danger and none of it at school. This leads to an argument between Ray and Henry, which leads to Henry quitting his job, but while that's going on, Drex is back with an army of cavemen and wants to make the whole town forget Captain Man. I think that the writing team had 3 options for the finale: bring back the original villain, which was the toddler, bring back every major villain, or bring back the best villain, which is Drex. They chose the last option, which I think is the best. I would have liked to see all the major villains come back, such as the toddler, Dr. Miniac, the time jerker, Franchini, Vandal, Rick Twitler. Okay, maybe not Jeff, but all of the major villains back, led by Drex, Danger and Thunder style. But it would have been hard to give each villain focus, and they probably would have just felt forced in, so only having Drex was probably the best thing they could do. I think the ending of Captain Drex, the second part, is probably one of the best endings to an episode of the whole show. Essentially, Drex has sent Captain Man 101 million years into the past, and has destroyed the Time Ray, and taken Schwarz, Bose, the Cavemen, and the Memory Wiper, and is going to erase the whole town's memory of Captain Man. And Henry is freaking out, trying to work out what to do, when Charlotte, Jasper and Piper come back to help. I also think the scene on top of the blimp when they're arguing about which ones should stay on and sacrifice themselves is beautifully written and redeems Ray for me. At the start of the show, sure, Ray had an ego, but he was a nice person and cared about his job and Swellview. In more recent seasons, he just cared about himself. The scene with them on top of the blimp redeemed Ray for me, even though they totally ruined it with Danger Force. I've only seen 1 episode of Danger Force, plus a couple of clips, as it's not available in the UK yet, but from what I've seen, Ray's back to how he was in Season 5, ruining the finale. So those are my top 5 Henry Danger stories, but let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram by clicking on the links in the description, but that's all for today. I will see you next week.